Holy God, it has been a while since I've uploaded, but we up. In all seriousness, I promise to never go this long without uploading ever again. Okay, no promises, but I'll try. I've recently been developing a chronic addiction to a Roblox game called Weaponry because it is actually really good, but severely underrated. In this game, you shoot people. That's it. I want to know which guns are the best, so that way I can always win every single one of my games that I play, and what better way to do it than to make a tier list about it. This project was massive for me, and I ended up having to scrap my first try recording this and re-record it because of how unorganized it was. Yes, you heard me right. Because of how intricate this project was, I am now forever changing the way I make, sort, and edit my videos to be more efficient. But without further ado, grab a snack, get comfortable, and plug in your phone because you guys are now going to witness a carefully crafted, heavily opinion-filled tier list. Enjoy. Let's get started with the assault rifles, the Weaponry 3000. Starting off strong here, the Weaponry 3000 is a bit of a special and delicate gun. It performs really well as a long-range full auto while taking care of close and medium range very well. It has the 25 round magazine, fires at a slow rate, but the insanely fast reload speed makes up for that. Unfortunately, the Weaponry 3000 is the only gun in the game that is locked behind a paywall. Yep, this gun is only available to those who are willing to cough up cash for the game's VIP. And me, who has nothing better to spend my money on, I bought it for the video. A tier. The Scar. The Scar is yet another reliable little boy. The Scar is one of the easiest guns to use and is probably one of the first guns you'll end up using upon joining the game. It has solid damage for long range and close range combat, but shines in medium range. The high damage headshots are an absolute gift if you can land them, ending your opponent's run if they're unlucky enough to get hit in that line of fire. The Scar also has a silenced counterpart, which is the exact same as the normal Scar, except it sacrifices some damage for range. The Scar and Scar S will both go in A tier. AK-47. High damaging, powerful, but has some ridiculous bloom and can barely hit long range, B tier. AK-74. It's a really good upgrade from the AK-47 as it's more accurate and has a good fire rate. Unfortunately, this all comes at the cost of damage, but in my opinion it's still better, A tier. AN-94. I want everyone to please welcome our first burst gun of the day, the AN-94. An absolute tank that packs a punch and that will obliterate anything that happens to stand within its line of fire. Being an only 2-shot burst, sure is a really reliable long-range choice for weaponry's big maps, A tier. The AUG has great long range while complementing close and medium range very well. Its damage is lackluster but reliable if you have good aim, B tier. M4A1. This gun almost got S tier, but because of one tiny thing, I have to put it in A tier. Let me explain. The M4A1 is a king. Close, medium, and long range are under control. It has a godlike quick reload speed and does 63 damage per headshot, 30 rounds per mag, which is insane. But the body shot damage is only 21. A tier. This gun is the exact same as the M4A1, but because it's silenced, its damage has been reduced, albeit only slightly, but this damage sacrifice comes with a major range buff. Unfortunately, this buff isn't enough to prevent me from putting it into A tier. M16. It's just a copy of the M4A1, but it instead is just burst. And it's terrible because if you miss, that's a lot of damage down the drain, and it just isn't that fun to use, D tier. Here we are, boys. Our first S tier gun, the FAMAS F1. I genuinely don't think you can make a better AR than this bad boy. Even though it has 5 less rounds per mag than most other ARs, it is still absolutely insane. Its reload speed is fast as well, so the 25 round mag isn't too much of a problem. Overall, it's one of the best choices in the whole game. A reliable, fast firing damage dealer that can handle almost any range, no matter what. Also, thank you to Kitty F1 for letting me borrow her footage for this gun. S tier. FAMAS G2. This gun is the FAMAS's awesome burst cousin. Bursting 3 rounds per shot, this does even more damage than the F1, but because it's a burst gun, missing a shot could be the difference between life and death. This does come at some insane damage and is a reliable option for all ranges, but falls short for being a burst gun. A tier. The SAR-21. It's a semi-automatic gun with 30 rounds and does similar damage to the FAMAS. Its range is good, its damage is good, but I really hope Stacky never makes another semi-auto AR again, because just getting this footage, I was breaking my mouse to even use it properly. B tier. G11. 50 round mag, 3 bursts per shot. This gun does some insane damage, as if you land one shot, you're probably going to land the rest because of how fast the rounds are fired. This gun is reliable for all ranges, and with the damage, you're going to breeze through enemies. So this goes in S tier, actually A tier, because I forgot one thing. The absolutely ridiculous reload time! The FAL is a long-range, slow-firing rifle that can pack some serious headshot damage, a long-ranged king. It struggles with close range, but that doesn't stop it from being a reliable choice for the game's big maps. A tier. The G3 is the FAL's horrifically mutated and deformed little brother. While it does more damage and has better range, it fires slower and has an even smaller magazine than the FAL. B tier. M1 Garand. High damaging semi-automatic gun. I genuinely think this gun is great besides one thing, the magazine size. If it was closer to 10, this gun would probably get S tier, but it's 8. At least its reload speed is decently fast. A tier. Winchester 1873. This gun is just hard to use. Unless you're a headshot god, you're not going to be getting anywhere with this gun. D tier. The MP5. While the low damage may make this gun somewhat lackluster, the absolute speed this thing fires at is no joke. If you land your shots, you will get kills. Keyword if. A tier. MP5 SD. The MP5 SD does even less damage than the MP5, but still keeps the blazing fire rate and quick reload time. This gun is getting S tier for one little detail: accuracy. I have no idea what it is, but this gun is so much more accurate than the MP5, and I love it. I don't even care if it sacrifices damage. S tier. UMP45. This gun is one of my least favorite SMGs. While it does do decent damage, it does not have the range, reload, or fire rate that the other SMGs pull off perfectly. In my opinion, it just feels like a weak assault rifle. D tier. Sten. While the Sten doesn't have a good fire rate, its range and damage is comparable to the MP5 SD. That's really all there is to say. It's pretty good. A tier. MP40. I genuinely really love this gun. The fire rate is great. The damage is insane, and it probably has the best range out of any other submachine gun. And the reload time being good brings this gun all the way up to S tier. You just can't go wrong with that juicy damage. MAC-10. Yet another reliable choice of SMG. While this gun does have some of the worst ranges in the game, the fire rate will obliterate anyone in your way as long as they're right up in your face. A tier. P90. This gun is really fun to use, but it is so low skill. While the P90's accuracy is absolute doo-doo and the damage is crap, the fact that this gun's full magazine has 50 rounds means that it doesn't matter as long as you have half a second to shoot the shit out of someone. B tier. PP Bison. This gun is the exact same as the P90 except with even more rounds and even more damage. The reload isn't as fast, but as long as you can hide for a few seconds, you should be fine. A tier. Tommy gun. This gun is the exact same as the P90 except with the same amount of rounds, better damage, and a really good range and good reload time. A tier. Thompson M4A1. This gun is not fun to use. I don't know what it is, but I don't really like it. The body shot damage is horrific, and the only way you're going to get kills is if you land all headshots, which some people cannot do. It has good reload speed, a lackluster fire rate. Yeah, just don't use it unless you can always land your headshots. C tier. Chris Vector. This gun is super low skill, and I won't lie, I love it. It's not my favorite gun because this gun can barely survive in medium range combat, but the absolute ridiculous fire rate and blazing reload speeds with some pretty decent damage really pushes this gun up there. If it held up better in medium range, this would be S tier, but for now I have to put it in A tier. I gotta take a shit. The M249. This gun, while having one of the most longest and insufferable reload speeds ever, its 100 round magazine can provide an onslaught of fire that can get several kills before needing a reload. The bloomin' drop off range will bring this gun down a lot, and I only see myself using this to tear up lobbies with terrible players. But despite that, I still think it's really fun to use. Also, by the way, in the footage I recorded for this gun, I was able to break my personal best amount of kills in one game from 91 to my new best being 95. And also, I didn't die once, so I also broke my personal best kill streak of 61. MG36. It's similar to the M249 as it also has an insufferable reload speed, but isn't as good for two reasons. It doesn't do as much damage, and it has a much faster fire rate, which means that you'll have to reload more often. B tier. The Mossberg 500. I won't lie, the shotguns in this game suck. Most of these guns are probably going to go into lower tiers, which include the Mossberg. While it can hit medium range when you aim down sight, it does not one shot unless your opponent is right up in your face. Also, the fire rate is doo-doo. B. Chargeberg 500. It's just the Mossberg 500, except you have to wait even longer to do decent damage. It sucks. D tier. Model 1887 lever action shotgun. It does great damage for medium range, and it also can absolutely dominate close range. B tier. Spaz 12. This shotgun is much more accurate than the other shotguns because its aim down sight is much more focused on a smaller point. The gun can do some serious damage, and it's really fun to use, but it doesn't have as good as a fire rate or a lot of ammo. A tier. Benelli M4. Just take my word for it, don't use this gun. Every other shotgun outclasses this gun in every single way, and it's honestly not worth using just because there are so many better options. F tier. UTS 15. This is the only slug shotgun in the game, and it is actually really good. Its aim down sight is accurate as it has a good fire rate. Its damage can 3-shot body shot, 2-shot headshot, and it has 14 shells maximum. It's really good. A tier. This is the only automatic shotgun in the game, and it's actually pretty good. While its range is absolute doo-doo, it can shred opponents on maps with tight spaces. A tier.
The double barrel is an interesting option here. It can deal decent mid-range damage and tear apart close range. But there's one thing that brings this gun's ranking up a lot. And it's the fact that whatever direction you fire in, your avatar will be propelled in the opposite direction. This is super fun as it can open up another window for sneaking strategy and could provide an effective support secondary. A tier.
Sawed off. Literally, the double barrel is better in every way. Just use that. D tier. Op. The Op is a high power rifle that honestly is outclassed by other snipers. I wouldn't use it unless you want to deal 721 damage headshots and 2-year reload times. B tier. SSG08. Woo! Where do we start? Easily the best sniper in the game. This gun has some insane muzzle velocity, a lot of ammo with not so bad reload time, and it's perfect for quick scoping. If you're ever going to catch me using a sniper, it's going to be this one. S tier. M82. The M82 is a high-powered semi-automatic sniper. While it's somewhat inaccurate after the first shot, it can do some serious damage if you're willing to no-scope. A tier. Car 98K. While this sniper does not have a scope, it does have a crosshair, which means it's much easier to aim for close medium range. Even though the car doesn't have a scope, it can still hit those long range shots that other snipers can, and this makes it a really good gun and very versatile and reliable. Unfortunately, I feel like this gun's magazine size is lackluster with only 5 rounds, and a somewhat hefty reload time brings this gun down a little bit more. If this gun had 8 rounds, I'd probably drop it in S tier, but for now, it's A tier. The PSG-1 just sucks. Don't use it. It has no rounds, the reload speed is forever, and it does not do any damage. Just please do not use it. Use the Kar 98K or the SSG. Literally anything is better than this. F tier. The VSS is the only automatic sniper in this roster, and despite it being an independent niche of sniper, it's really good. This bad boy can absolutely wipe out your enemies from afar and is reliable even without a crosshair. The reload speed is fast, the fire rate is good. The only thing preventing the VSS from being an S tier is the magazine. It just runs out too quickly. A tier. The Glock 17. Let me introduce you to the Super Soaker. This thing sucks and does no damage unless you get headshots. F tier. Glock 18. Let me introduce you to the automatic Super Soaker. It's just as bad as the other one, except it's automatic, which means it's better. D tier. M1911. Let me introduce you to the slightly better Super Soaker. Still semi-auto, still mid-range. This thing can do some good damage if you land those headshots. Like 3-shot headshot on this gun, it would be insane. B tier. Tech 9. Let me introduce you to the slightly better automatic Super Soaker. The Tech 9 actually does some pretty good damage up close, has a fast reload time, and can be comparable to some of the game's SMGs. B tier. Akimbo USPS. Let me introduce you to the silenced Super Soaker, except you hold 2 of them. Okay, I'm done with the Super Soaker joke. This thing is pretty similar to the Glocks, except it's semi-automatic. Their only reliable way of getting damage is landing headshots, and there's no aim down sight. C tier. Desert Eagle. This solid medium long ranged gun can deal some serious damage when you hit those headshots, while at the same time having a quick reload speed. Pretty reliable, but doesn't really hit the spot. B tier. R8. Basically the same thing as the Deagle, but with a slower fire rate and a little more range. C tier. Peacemaker. The Peacemaker I feel will piss off a lot of people depending on where I put it. If I put it in S or A tier, the AR and SMG kids will tell me that it's overrated. And if I put it in C or D tier, the tryhards will tell me that I have a skill issue and that I'm not galaxy brained enough to comprehend the amount of skill required to use the Peacemaker properly. So who do I choose to piss off? The AR kids. I genuinely think this is a pretty good gun that deserves some attention, and while I might not be the best at it, I can understand the potential it has. A tier. The Head Stack. It's probably the most unique gun in the game, as it doesn't resemble any real life gun like every other gun leading up to this point has. This gun also heals your enemies if you land headshots, but it only deals damage when you land body shots. The body shots do a very small amount of damage, but because there's 88 rounds that fire over 60 rounds a second, it doesn't even matter as long as you don't hit the headshots. Although this gun is good for close range to an extent, it has terrible drop off, making it unreliable in most cases. B tier. And this is my official tier list on how I ranked everything in the game, on how I feel about it. If you want to share your opinion, leave a comment down below, and I will do absolutely fuck all. Bye bye.